Okay, so I'm just now in the EC2 console. I've created an EC2 instance here, and I've just called it, what have I called it? CloudWatch test. And we can see here it's got we click on monitoring and we've got our CloudWatch metrics set up here. So the first thing I would like to do is to enable detail monitoring. So I just click on that. And there we go. We have no alarm configured. That's fine. We already know how to create an alarm. We've already done that in the highly available and fault tolerant lab, so we won't do that again. So let's have a look at our CloudWatch metrics. So we just click on here, view all CloudWatch metrics. Okay, so we can see here we've got a number of metrics available, but it's not going to be the same as what's available in US East. So I'm in Asia Pacific Sydney here, so I'm just going to jump into US East and see what it looks like. So you can see here we've got a lot more available in the North Virginia or the US East region. So that's something to be aware of, that when you're setting up your infrastructure, one of those things you need to consider is that if you're going to take advantage of CloudWatch, make sure that the metrics that you want to monitor are available in the region you're looking at. So I'll just jump back into the Asia Pacific region. Okay, so let's have a look at some EC2 metrics. So we can see here we've got I've only got one instance set up in this account there, in this region. And so we can see here is our instance CloudWatch test. So let's have a look at CPU utilization. So if we just click on and select that, we can see our CPU utilization there. And so I had a couple of spikes here, so I did a bit of load testing on it just to see if it would work. We can see we're down quite low here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into the EC2 console, and I'm going to grab the public IP from this. Okay, so I'm just going to jump into a web app called loadimpact.com. So they allow you to do some load testing on a server. So it's pretty quick and easy way to go. So you can create a free account there, which I've just done. Normally I wouldn't use this service, but I just think it's if you're not conversant with testing software, then it's a great thing to do. You can just jump online here and put in your URL of your server, and away you go. So I'm just going to do that. So I've already put it in there, and then I'm going to rerun that test that I've already set up. So I'll just scroll down here, and we can see that this is starting to happen. So test in progress. Okay, so just fast forward along here. The test is now finished, and we can see here that we've got our VUs. Now, VUs are virtual users. You can see here the service is continually adding on virtual users. And there we can see as our response time is getting higher and higher. So it's getting up to 2 minutes there at one stage, and then it's getting to the point where it's just not getting a response back in time. So you can see very, very quick and easy to do a very quick load test on a server. So it's and it's a free service for just one server. So if you're not conversant with testing software, have a look at this. So just jumping back into the EC2 management console, and we'll click on monitoring again. And here you can see we've got our spike in our CPU utilization here, and so that corresponds with what we're seeing over on here. So that's pretty good. So let's have a look at CloudWatch. And so here we can see, and we'll just refresh this. And there we can see we've got our big spike from the testing we've done. So that's coming in at 1 minute intervals, and so that's looking really good. So what we can do now is we can look at creating a dashboard. So we'll go into dashboards now. And they're pretty good because they allow you to put in a number of different metrics for all different resources and display them on a screen there, so which you can share with others. So let's just put a dashboard name in here. Okay, so just click Create Dashboard. So we'll just do a metric graph now, and then we'll look at text widgets in a sec. So we're just going to put a metric graph on there, which is going to monitor so let's have a look at our EC2 metrics. And there's our CPU utilization for our CloudWatch test. So we're going to put that on there as a widget. And there it is. So there's our widget. We can resize it. We can do whatever we want with it. It's pretty good. So we can put a number of these on here. So we can also put different types. We can put a text widget. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so what we've got here is text that has been formatted with Markdown. So Markdown is just a formatting language that you use to put your text into something nice. You know, a little bit like HTML that puts a web page into a nice format. If you've used GitHub before and you've had to have the README for GitHub, you can, the front page for your GitHub repository, then that will be done normally in Markdown. So you'd be conversant with that if you're a developer who's used GitHub. So we're just going to use it as is. You can see here it's putting a heading and then a subheading. So the way of doing that is that hash symbol followed by 2 of those for a subheading, and so that's how you create a Markdown text. So just going to click on Create Widget, and there you can see that it's put a nicely formatted bit of text there, and so that could be anything that we want to put in there, or it could be some help screen or something like that. So it's a pretty handy thing. So we can also get rid of it. So if we look on here and we go delete, we can get rid of it, and we can also get rid of this one as well if we wanted to. So easy to put on, easy to take off, and then we can save our dashboard. So the next thing I want to look at now is events. So reasonably, it's marked here new, so reasonably new service for 2016. So again, we know that we have to create a rule for our event to occur. So this here, so we've got determine events of interest in the CloudWatch events stream, create rules to select those events of interest, and then specify our actions to take when a rule matches an event. So let's create a rule. Okay, so here we have our step 1, which is create rule. So we can select an event source. So it could be an instance state change notification. It could be on a schedule, or it could be an AWS API call. So to do that, you would have to implement CloudTrail to make that happen. Or it could be an auto-scaling event that has occurred. So auto-scaling invoking an instance, for example. So they're the kind of event sources that we can use. So if I just click on here on API call, we can see it's not going to work because we haven't got CloudTrail logging turned on for this account. So in the CloudTrail lesson, we'll look at implementing CloudTrail and then setting up CloudWatch to monitor those CloudTrail logs. So in this one, we're just going to confine it to CloudWatch. We won't get involved in CloudTrail. We'll do that in the next lesson. So I just click on OK for that. So I'm just going to select an EC2 instance change notification. So we can select any state. Let's select a specific state, so something that happens. So when it's terminated, okay, so when something's terminated, we want to get a notification, or we want an event to occur. It doesn't have to be a notification. It could be invoking a Lambda function or something. So any instance, or we could specify a single instance. So we could specify our CloudWatch test, for example. We could put that in there. And then we look at our targets. So again, what are targets? So they can be an SNS topic, they can be an SQS queue, they can be a Kinesis stream, or they can be a built-in target. So one thing you'll notice here is that there is not a Lambda selection. Okay, so if I went into, because I'm in the Sydney region, if I went into US East, there'd be another target there for Lambda. So something again to consider if you're going to take advantage of events. Make sure that the target and everything that you need is available in your region that you're using, or else change regions. So maybe we want to put in a built-in target. So what do we want to happen? So we can create a snapshot when it's instant. So when an instance is terminated, we can create a snapshot of that volume. And we can select the volume that we're going to take a snapshot of. Okay, and we can add additional targets, and we can keep adding them in there. So I just delete that. Okay, so then we just give the rule a name and a description, and then permissions, so we can use a basic built-in targets roll, and then we do allow, and it'll allow that to happen. So I'm not going to do that now, but that's how we can do a role, and then we can click on create rule, which will create our rule for us. So we're not going to do that. I think I've gone far enough that you get the idea of how this works. So what I want to do is jump into the US East region. So I'm just going to go back, and now if we look at Andy, and we can see here we've got our Lambda function. So there we go. So we can actually have a function, so we need to create the function first, and then we can select that function here, and we can have it so when this particular event occurs, whatever it is, or we can have it scheduled for every 5 minutes or something, or we can have it on a cron expression we can put in here for a schedule, or we could have it, you know, when an auto scaling event occurs, we can run this Lambda function. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our hands-on of using CloudWatch as an administration tool, and I'll see you in the next lesson.